Hi, this is Gina Edwards. I'm going to show you how to assign some particular articles within the Renaissance Place program to your students based on different skills that you'd like to assess um, in a really quick and easy way to grab another assessment for your students. So you probably will recognize this is the home page that you get to when you log in as teacher. As you can see, we're logged in as me. Where you want to go for this is to the Instructional Reading tab. This is where you probably know independent reading is where you go to check your student goals and their progress, and star reading, of course, to monitor their growth and things. But if you go to Instructional Reading, you wait for this next screen to come up. Okay, so there's a couple of different ways you can do it. The first way that I did it was I just clicked on my level of elementary school K through 5, and then it just showed up for me approximately like 7 or 8 different articles that were featured specifically, because this is just going to give you featured articles, but there weren't very many. So what I decided to do instead, I'll click on that and show it to you just so you can kind of see. It really had some neat ones because one section that it had was down here, which is particularly interesting for like 4th grade. This yuck, weird, gross, and amazing. You can see there were a couple of articles like this one where they were using crickets to make protein bars, and this one which was whale poop, which makes a boy rich, which will be pretty engaging for some of our students. So they have some great articles. And when you look at it, you'll see that it shows you the grade level of the article itself, what it's based on, the book level, and the Lexile measure. And then you can click on preview to actually see the article and navigate through it. But I want to show you this other way, which will give you a lot more choices. If you click on Find Articles by Skills or Standards, and you're going to see this is really great when you're trying to assess on a particular standard. Sorry, I didn't mean that to come up because I had already tried this already. So we'll discard that and we'll start a new one. Okay. So it's actually telling me I'm creating this plan. I haven't looked very much into this as to how much I really want to work on. But what I'm doing is I'm just scrolling down here. These are the skills that I might be wanting to look at. You can look at all different ones, and if you see right down here, you even have the Tennessee State Standard link to it, which is great. So we specifically, always are working on main idea. We've worked on that quite a bit lately and for informational text. So I'm going to click on that one. I want to choose that. And that's only what I'm going to work on for right now. And so if I go down, continue that, it's going to show me it has 35 different assignments that I could choose from just on that one main idea skill. So I'm going to scroll down and just grab something that looks interesting to me. For example, this one, I think we have some Girl Scouts in the school, I think, and so we have this one about Girl Scout cookies. And it shows me it is a main idea. It's a 4th grade level passage, 600 Lexile, 3.9 book level. So it should be fairly readable for most of my students. And so here's something that I highly recommend. Before you add it to a plan, what you want to do is preview this article. And I actually would do this as a model with my students ahead of time because the article, it's kind of like we were talking about the iReady skills checks, where a lot of times the students didn't get their answers. They didn't score as highly because they didn't understand the format of how to choose their answers. This is going to be similar to that. They need a little bit of help knowing how to do it. Now, once you've done this one time with one article, then they should understand this for the most part. But I'm also going to recommend that you create a task card, and I'll explain why in just a minute. So what you'll see, it sets a purpose for their reading right away. It shows them after you read the article, highlight the main idea and 2 to 3 key details that support the main idea. They'll be able to highlight, but not in a way that it shows like a highlighter tool up here and what they're using it, okay? So I'm going to have to show you kind of how to do that, and this is where the modeling piece comes in. So you'll go through it. The first time you go through it, you can't actually highlight anything. You can read through. I think that the Renaissance Company has assumed that they're going to go through and read the entire article one time without highlighting or making any annotations. And you may be training your students, you're highlighting as you go the first time you read, or maybe not. This particular article is very short. This actually part right here is just the caption. As you can see, it's written a little differently. But it's actually a really short article, so they could go through and read the whole thing the first time. But some of the articles, of course, are longer. So the first time, let's just say I'm trying to highlight something. I'm actually clicking here with my mouse, and nothing is happening to highlight because it won't let you on the first screen. And the only reason I know that is because I've played with this a little bit already. So if you go next, when you get to the bottom, it'll show you I have 5 different screens. I can't do anything on the first screen, so I'm going to go next. The same thing appears again, even the same purpose is on the top. Now here's where I feel like that it would have been helpful for them to set a different purpose for each screen, that these directions at the top should change. The Renaissance Place Company did not choose to do that, so I personally will be creating a task card for my students to show them this is what you do. You're going to read it on screen 1, click now on screen 2. What you would do on my task card would tell the students, now highlight the main idea. What Renaissance Place is assuming is that your students understand that they're going to do the first job on that next page. So the first thing it asks them to do is highlight the main idea. So I'll come down and I'll say, okay, I think the main idea of this article is Katie set a new record for selling Girl Scout cookies. So I'm just holding my mouse button down, dragging across. And then when I let go of my left mouse key, it tells me I'm highlighting main idea. So I'm going to click on that, and it's going to turn purple because that's the main idea part that it wants us to do. Then it wants me to highlight 2 to 3 key details. Well, again, because I've already tried this myself, I know that I can't just highlight another thing. If I do now, I'll say she sold this 18,000 boxes of cookies in 7 weeks. That's a key detail, but it wants me to still highlight main idea. The reason is I'm still on screen 2. I have to go to screen 3 I have to go to the next screen in order to do the next task. So if I did that by accident, it's okay. You can just click it again and it'll take it back off, okay? And the reason is it's important the students are going to see, and you see when you review that as a teacher, that they are actually choosing 2 different things for their main idea and the details. So in order to do my next job, my key details, I need to scroll down, go to the next screen again, okay? And again, if I have a task card, it'll tell them, now on screen 2, highlight the main idea, go to screen 3 and highlight 2 to 3 key details. So now if I want to say, okay, so she sold this many cookies in 7 weeks, now if you see, it pops up for me telling me I'm on key detail, and it's going to be a different color. That's going to be important in a minute too. Again, why I feel like we should have a task card for this. So I'll go down and it tells me 2 to 3 key details. So that's maybe 1 key detail. I'm going to come back down here and it's going to tell me, oh, there was an old record before back in the 1980s. I think that's maybe in a key detail, and basically how she did it. Like it tells 3 different things that she did. I'm going to highlight those all. Oops, did that wrong. Go through and highlight that. That's another key detail to me. Okay, so that's 3 different key details. That's fine. Now, if you go to the next screen, now it gives the students an opportunity to type out to describe it. So the first thing it asks me is the first question that it gave the students. Describe the article's main idea in your own words. What's great is they get to go back and look at the text that they highlighted. So it's telling them, this is again where if I had the task card to say, now this will match, look at what you highlighted in purple, because I remember as teacher that it asked me to highlight main idea in purple, and that's what it coded it. But it didn't, but the students may or may not remember, ooh, which one of these was important for that. So I think that would be a good scaffold for our students to tell them now, hint, use your purple highlighted text, for example. And so I have that, but of course it asks them in their own words, which is really great that it asks them that, because they can't just copy the word for word the text as many of our students choose to do. So they'll type in an answer, Katie, I just doing this as I go along, set a record that was new. I know that's really lazy, but for selling Girl Scout cookies. Okay, so whatever they choose to type, you go down, and then the next task, of course, is going to ask them the second part of it. Explain how the details you Sorry for the glitch. I lost connection there for a second. But here they will type in, of course, how they explain out. Looking again at what was highlighted, she beat the record or something like that that they're choosing to put using their highlighted things. Okay, so when you get then to the bottom and they click on finish, it asks them to make sure they're done, of course, and they'll click on finish. Here is where they will be able to take a quiz on it, and you'll be able to see not only all of the highlighting that they chose, all of the typed responses that they chose as teacher, then you can also see their quiz results as well, and this will be a good opportunity. Unfortunately, I can't preview that for you right now because I'm doing this from home in the evening, and it will not allow me even within the teacher account and previewing, it will not allow me to see the quiz after 6 p.m., just part of the Renaissance program. So this is something that I highly encourage you to do with trying on your own, as teacher. Again, the easiest way to get to this is to go to let me show you this real quick. So if you do decide after you preview it that you do like that, you'll click on Add to Plan for the students, and then you go through and continue, and it'll allow you, some different things that you want to choose for your assignments and things like that. And when the students log in, it'll actually show them their assignments and what they have. So you can create a plan, main idea, for example, continue. Okay, and then it's already in your students' accounts at that point. So when when the students log in, it will show up right there on their home screen. Go back to my home screen. So the students have a little box right here from the student screen that'll actually show them their assignments for that week. And you can do it specifically for a week. But I encourage you, again, to go to it right here as instructional reading, and you want to go through and assign that, whether it's different articles or whatever that you want to do that. But I do really recommend go through and model that and do create a set of steps, whether you list those on the board for the students or create some task cards that they can hold next to them as they're working on it, so they do remember what it is they're supposed to do at each step along the way, because it does seem pretty easy to us as teachers, I think, once you've done it one time, but I do feel like it's complicated enough for students to do without those explicit directions. But I really think that this is a great extra tool and resource for us if we're looking for some more ways to monitor our standards. So just wanted to share that with you.